that staff problem
Yeah.
has created this anxiety tension for dentists in terms of I don't have enough people to work here.
Yes.
In comes this practice consultant / CE / let me tell you how to fix your problems, doc. One word I could do to save your office from not having staff problems. The reason why people are leaving is culture. And I call bullshit. It's not culture. The culture was here 20 years. People aren't leaving this office because of culture. They're leaving it because everyone thinks they're a Shark Tank. Everyone wants less work. Everyone wants more money. You wake up and you see your husband laying in bed and he gets to work from work and you're the hygienist, you have to drive to work. That's why people are leaving. But everybody's on this culture train.
Yeah.
It's a scam. It's a scam.
I think pretending like you can easily create it, that you can easily maintain it if you spend enough money to be trained how to do it, I think that is unfair and unrealistic.
The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist, 'cause sometimes you just feel mediocre. The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. I am mediocre, you are mediocre, and that's not that bad.
Mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist.
I am mediocre, you
I
are
am
mediocre,
and that's not that bad. I mean, that song is so catchy. I love hearing that song. That song makes me happy.
You love hearing it? It does make me happy, but I do not like how deeply it gets like embedded into your soul and you cannot shake that shit for like
we'll be editing videos, I'll hear that jingle and then it's in me for a day or two.
I don't even need to. It just independently comes up in me. It's like it's deep down. It's seated there and it's going to come out multiple times in a day. And I've learned to accept it.
Tonight.
Ooh, tonight's the night, David Galler.
Tonight is the night we tackle a big topic. We're already getting emails, comments, people talking about this topic, but it's time we hit it head on. I feel very strongly about it. We've hit a nerve, and we're going to piss a lot of people off tonight, but we're also going to make a lot of people feel heard.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Born ready.
It's time to talk about the use of the dirty C word. There is a dirty C word that is unacceptable to use, and people use them all the time.
And not see you next Tuesday.
It's not that dirty. It's not. No, it's not. It's not that. There is a dirty C word in dentistry, and it is
culture.
Culture. The office culture. That is a word that automatically, when used in conversation, as in I've spent a lot of time working on my office culture, makes other dentists feel mediocre.
Oh yeah, just two syllables.
Culture.
Yeah.
What's your office culture like?
Ooh, wouldn't know. Don't have one. Use a different word. Like I don't even know. It's just
who made up that word?
I have some ideas, but it's catchy. It's like being gluten sensitive. Like people aren't celiac, but they're around like I can't have gluten. I'm a fashionable glutard.
Listen, I've been in dentistry for 25 years.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, 15 years ago, nobody was talking about office culture. It's a new catch term that people are throwing out. And I mean, you dive into making other dentists around you feel bad, that's the number one term.
Yeah.
And everybody's on it. Practice consultants, SEO people, everybody designed to take your money to teach you more. Number one courses at these conventions, culture, developing a good culture.
Intentional, and that one's kind of paired with that in the same line of reasoning too, like being intentional. Way to be intentional with your. No, I'm not being intentional. The only thing I'm intentional about is how many Sour Patch Kids I eat in a week.
What is that? Intentionally, you mean in regular life?
And I think I see our friends use it, like the same kind of people who are like culture dropping. They're living intentionally. Everything's intentional. Just sounds good. It sounds fashionable. So woke.
Intentional. Like I'll go through my 3 decades in dentistry. Yes. When I hit it, you know what the catchword was?
What?
Evidence-based dentistry.
Okay, but like that's okay. Like
No,
that's
it
got
was
like a
just
scientific.
evidence-based. It was like
It's not foofy.
it
It's
was
not.
it was intended to make people feel bad.
If you were using something that wasn't evidence based, yeah, okay.
It was like this like hotsy-totsy term. I'm doing evidence-based dentistry.
It's pretentious, yes. Okay. So, and I
pretentious.
think that these words they're both fashionable and pretentious, and they trigger us both. I don't know why as much as we do, but we're
It
gonna
definitely-
we're gonna deep dive
Evidence-based dentistry.
into the C word.
My second decade, peer
Mm.
reviewed.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Third decade, culture.
Mm.
Office culture.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's where we
Office
find ourselves.
culture, there's two definitions. One is how your staff feels about your office.
Okay.
And the second one is the current mood created by an employer for the office. What does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? It sounds like a whole bunch of responsibility for something, like for many things that I have absolutely no control over.
Now, here's the sell on culture.
Okay.
You need a culture so that you can retain your staff. In
Yeah,
2025,
because we are all legitimately terrified about that. So how do we do it? How do we make them stay?
so the answer being purported by everyone
Yep.
is that if you want your office to stay, you need to create a culture that they like, a culture
That they feel inspired
they have
by,
to
that
take
they
a
want to stick
Colby
around.
test and an index test and a likability
The
test
DISC,
and this
yep.
and that, and we develop a culture here, and then everyone stays.
Yeah, which we know to be verifiably false. These people are still losing people. So
Right. So there are a lot of people commenting on us on this culture. And what I want to say to all those commenting people who are saying, no, I developed a great office culture, have you lost any staff in the last year? No? Well, then you must have a...
it's a bullshit.
Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
You must have a very small staff. If
I
you
was
haven't
gonna
lost
say,
staff,
if you have, because I mean, they're
you might
even
have
saying
4
it.
people.
The national. I mean, there's like studies out there.
Give me the
right?
studies.
They're saying that it's about a third
A third of the dental office.
of the dental office, and it's more for some roles than others. And I think this year they're actually projecting for office managers, and we had touched on this on a previous episode, that they're actually going to be one of the biggest ones that are leaving. And historically speaking, they've stuck around and been the most consistent. So it's a constantly evolving thing. How can we possibly predict anything in life, including or be able to have some set of system or protocol for hiring people and retaining them when there's so much variability and chaos in life, like that you just can't account for?
So I
just
have a
don't
theory
buy
I
it.
want to run. I want to run by you.
Okay.
Okay. 20 years ago, nobody talked about culture in the office. 15 years ago, nobody talked about culture in the office.
Yes.
10 years ago, no courses, no training, no webinars, no seminars, no CE days revolving around culture.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, last 2-3 years, there's culture.
Yeah.
I have a theory.
Okay. I want to hear it.
2020 came. 2020 came.
Uh-huh.
COVID came.
That was another dirty C word. Okay.
COVID came, and it changed a lot a lot of people. I'm not talking about
Across the board.
I'm not
yeah.
talking about chemically whatever we got in our bodies with us. That's a different
Yeah, that's-
episode.
Yeah.
With the disease and with the vaccine. I don't know which one was worse in the end.
Pericarditis. Jury's
But-
out.
COVID changed. All of a sudden, all these workers,
Mm-hmm.
we furloughed the whole office. You furloughed the office. People are fired. People are all over the place.
Yep.
And then they're starting to get checks at home for unemployment. The government finds $1 trillion, starts paying people. The government's paying people for being home. Stock
Yeah.
market's shooting through the roof.
Yeah.
Government's right. All of a sudden, Congress just comes up and goes, yep, we're going to pass a $800 billion
Oh,
relief fund. I'm like, where'd you get the $800
Where?
billion
Yeah.
from? Because we have a deficit. Why don't you just use the $800 billion on the deficit that we have? But whatever, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
They print the money, I guess.
that's its own episode.
beyond
like you
me.
say.
So they don't even print the money anymore. You understand that? They just click a button on a machine and it says, hey,
The
bank,
reset. Yeah.
you have $800 billion now, so start sending checks. I had a staff at that time, the
Mhm.
hygienist, she was making more money from the COVID relief checks
Then she was
weekly
making.
and the unemployment. The unemployment, the COVID relief was
Ooh.
more than they were making a week. A lot of people had this problem, which is why when we came back to work,
They're
some
like,
people were
"Why
like,
would I?"
"Rrr, no,
I
thank
don't-
you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, this isn't just a dental problem. This was a
No,
nationwide problem. Post-COVID,
worldwide problem.
in that 2021 time,
Mm-hmm.
everyone was kind of coming back to work. People were getting vaccinated. And then February 2021, documented, Google it, everybody knows, they call it the age of resignation.
Yeah. Yeah.
People just started dropping out of work. Paper companies, bars, restaurants, dental offices, law, everyone was resigning. Everyone was like, I'd rather stay home / look for something better.
Well, not even just that. I think people took a real deep look into their lives and how they've been leading it. Because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was this thing that none of us could imagine that would happens. People are dropping like flies. And you're like, okay, this is all a bit futile. Do I really want to be in this job that I'm not in love with?
Okay. I like that. That's a nicer version of it. I always tend to blame the worker, but okay, maybe people are reevaluating their lives. I do like that. That's
let's be thorough.
No, I think that's
that played into it a little bit.
I think that's a good devil's advocate.
But then it persisted,
got crazy.
And people, we created peoples that don't want to work.
I mean, a couple of things happened. People got used to just not working, and then people really started to reevaluate their lives.
Yeah.
And the result is a tremendous decrease in the workforce.
Yeah.
I also call it the Shark Tank effect. Can I tell you the Shark Tank effect?
Okay, I like you had me at sharks. My armpits are sweating.
Shark Tank effect show, very popular show on MSNBC, CNBC, whatever it shows. Those people that come in and they have great stats on the show. Like something like your chance of making the show of all the applications that go in. And for those who don't know the show, basically they show these inventors of people who've invented things, or they came up with a new candy bar, or they came up with your classic is somebody came up with a Velcro sippy cup. So the sippy cup Velcros to the kid's shirt, and they want to go, but they need $100,000 from the sharks to bring it to Target. And the sharks bid on it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. And then even after you get a bid from the shark and they get you into Target and they start selling it, like some products work, some products don't work, and blah, blah, blah. Your chances of making the show, I'm just going to make up numbers here. I have them. I can look them up for a different episode.
Yeah.
But your chances of making the show out of all the applications, then they bring you in and interview you. And boom. Then they cut down even there how many people they film. And then out of the people they film, they only show a fraction of those, because only 3 or 4 people make an episode. There's a ton of people they film who never even make it on, no deals. Yes. And then of the people they film, only a fraction of them get, like 50% of them even get a deal from one of the sharks. And out of those, even less people are actually successful with their Velcro sippy cup. 2 years out, 1 year out, everyone's successful because you got crazy primetime viewing. But 2 years out, their company is not sustainable / they don't know how to run a business.
Yes.
Your chances of going on that show and being successful are lower than a high school basketball player making the NBA.
Are you serious? Wow.
You have a better chance of being a high school athlete and making the pros versus submitting an application from home to Shark Tank and becoming some entrepreneur. But they showcase the guy who made the ring bell system. I feel like you could
be that guy. Okay. Yes. Okay, so tell me the principle then.
Because of the show Shark Tank.
Yes.
Every hygienist thinks her Velcro sippy cup gonna make her a billionaire.
Ooh. Okay. And she
no longer values working here.
Okay.
So we have resignations. We have people who only want to work 2 days a week.
Side hustles or whatever.
Every person we hire now says, I don't want to work 5 days a week.
Yeah. And that came up, that was absolutely post-COVID. That was not there before.
So
working 5
COVID
days
comes in.
Was a thing.
People are home, getting used to home life, don't want to work anymore.
And see everyone around them is like that used to be in a cubicle.
You're home watching Shark Tank and you're like, I could do that. Look at this little homemaker mom who's making brownies from her kitchen, and the brownies have a smiley face on them, and Mark Cuban thinks that's $1 million idea.
Yes, and not just the hygienist though, and not just dental. You see people out there that used to have to show up for work and sit in a cubicle all day. They're now able to pick their kids up from work because they're working at a home, and
let's talk about that.
Their structure of their day.
Let's talk about that. There is a dental problem with staff. And I think it started with COVID, but there's a major problem. And that is you can't work from home.
Yeah.
You have to understand, in 2025, lawyer, accountant, HR, you work for Invisalign, you work for whomever, you work for Target, you work on any legal firm, you could do My
Most of your
sister's a
job.
lawyer. She works 4 days a week from home.
Exactly.
My daughter's a designer for a light company, incredible design company. For most of the month she works from home. She goes in the office like twice a month. My son-in-law is an accountant. He only goes into the office 1 or 2 days a week. Everything else
I
is
know,
from home.
it's the new
Everyone
norm.
around you is working from home except for my receptionist, my dental assistant, my office manager, and my hygienist.
Yeah.
That's got to wear on them.
I don't blame them. I don't let it like go through my mind because it's not like I'm looking for a side hustle.
But I'm
so I
saying
don't-
this is all
this is-
contributing to the staff problem.
Yes.
There is a staff problem now. Why? Resignations went up after COVID because people are like, I actually like being home. I don't want to work.
Yes.
Number 2, everybody thinks they could be a millionaire. Number 3, your husband, your wife who's laying in bed at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
goes, I'm working from home in my pajamas. And you're like, I'm putting on makeup,
Yes.
putting on my scrubs, making a coffee, and I'm out the door at 7:15
Yeah.
every day. And this
Yeah.
person,
Sometimes
there's
driving
no way
across
working
town.
from home
Yeah.
is as taxing as driving to work.
Yeah.
People also have unrealistic PTO expectations. We see this in our
Yeah,
practice.
but the government has. I
The
don't know.
government
Yeah.
sick days in New York. I think
They
there's some,
facilitated it
I want to
hugely.
misquote it, but in New
Yeah.
York, you're allowed to take New York City employees are allowed to take a ridiculous amount of sick days paid,
I think ours is 5 in BC.
sanctioned by New York City. I don't know what it is. You can look it up.
Yeah, and
I don't wanna say.
it's annoying because these people are very forthcoming. Yeah, I ain't sick. I'm taking a sick day.
I'm taking a sick day.
Okay, but you're well, and your patients actually relied on you showing up today. And they
So you
booked
have your
specifically,
PTO
so
days.
you're there. Yeah,
PTO used to
Yeah.
be 14 days PTO, 10
Yep.
days PTO. Now, you interview people, they want 20 days PTO, 20
Yeah.
days plus the sick
it's a
days.
bargaining. Yeah, it's a negotiation.
Everybody has an entitlement to
I-
not come to work.
Yes.
20 days
Well, and
PTO,
you
that's
have-
4 weeks off.
Not to
That's-
mention, you have fewer people to pull from because there's less people that are actually in the pool. The people that just escape dentistry altogether.
So I really believe that there's a staff problem
Yeah.
in 2020 to 2025. That
Yeah.
staff problem
Yeah.
has created this anxiety tension for dentists in terms of I don't have
retention.
enough people to work here.
Yes.
In comes this practice consultant / CE / let me tell you how to fix your problems, doc. One word I could do to save your office from not having staff problems. The reason why people are leaving is culture. And I call bullshit. It's not culture. The culture was here 20 years. People aren't leaving this office because of culture. They're leaving it because everyone thinks they're a Shark Tank. Everyone wants less work. Everyone wants more money. You wake up and you see your husband laying in bed and he gets to work from work and you're the hygienist, you have to drive to work. That's why people are leaving. But everybody's on this culture train.
Yeah.
It's a scam.
No.
It's a scam.
I think pretending like you can easily create it, that you can easily maintain it, if you spend enough money to be trained how to do it, I think that is unfair and
Scam.
unrealistic. I do. Do I think that some people manifest it or create it and like they contribute actively towards there being like, I don't know, good behaviors amongst staff and or their fun and the way that they are with their patients is something that's inspiring?
No, wait. I'm going to interrupt you right here.
Okay.
And now a word from this episode sponsor. I know we swore we would not have sponsors, but the money was too good and we sold out.
This podcast is sponsored by the Energize Group. Would you like to get energized?
Would I ever?
Well, a lot of people are looking for patients. And let's say
Mhm.
you want to blow up your patient load.
Mhm.
What's one category of patients you want to get more of? What procedure?
Invisalign, implants.
Yeah, so you sit with these guys are quants. They from Wall Street,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them's a special forces guy. They wrote an algorithm to be like, you want Invisalign? Spend X amount of money. We're going to buy these ads on Instagram, Facebook, Google. You're going to have so many Invisalign calls, you don't even know what to do with it.
Perfect.
Yeah. These guys, when you're ready to really blow up and spend some serious coin to get people in, buying ads, these guys wrote the book on it. They're quants. They know exactly what formula to use and what words to use on the Google ads, the grams, the Facebook ads. People are going to be calling. So many people are calling, you don't even know what to do.
Cool.
Love
It's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. They're the guys, Energize Group. You can check them out on the AACA website, the Mediocre Dentist website, or following this website that Sean put up.
How we sold out, yeah, we sold out.
There's a big difference
Yes.
between culture
Yes.
and experience.
Okay.
What you said there, how the patients are perceiving that is an experience.
I know, but they're using some of these principles interchangeably, but they're using this fashionable term. And people, like even the people that are getting upset, not necessarily upset, but they're like, I disagree with your stance on culture. I've been creating it beautifully. And I would use that other dirty word intentionally over all these years. And I'm calling BS on that. People are far too mysterious and far too complicated and unpredictable to be able to like beautifully execute that. And day in and day out.
I agree. The idea that a dentist can create a culture in the office that keeps the staff there is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is insulting. It is a scam that dentists are desperate for because of the staffing problem.
Mm-hmm.
People are selling you a panacea, a fix-all to your staffing problems with this word culture. I don't see it. I don't see it. There's a webinar from an ACA member, board member, 3 or 4 years ago, and all they did was talk about their incredible office culture, blah, 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 dancing, singing, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward a year or two later, they got nobody.
No.
All the people gave notice. Everybody turned over. This one resigned, that one resigned.
It wasn't even that long. It was like literally, it was happening in their life at that time of delivering that. Which
and
is
I'm
another.
no better. We are no better. I run a convention.
Yes.
I run a convention.
Yes.
The GRC, the Gallerite Reunion Convention, the Re-Engage Team Retreat. I was obsessed with culture of the event. Everybody's got to feel good. In the end, every year I'm working overtime to reinvent myself to make it should be the convention was so good, everyone just signed up to come back right away.
Okay.
And every year I'm reinventing. This year we're doing X. This year Tom Brady's coming. This year we're doing a comedy hour. This year I got Sebastian Maniscalco coming. This year we're trying Let's Make a Deal. I have to keep reinventing it because there's no such thing as culture.
There's no set, There's no set equation
to how to create it. It's ridiculous to think that a dentist creates a culture that makes the staff want to stay there. No way. As soon as you get angry at them, as soon as they have a new job for more money or closer to their office, they're out.
I do agree. That is what we see. And I mean, that's all. We've said this before, and everyone who knows you knows this. You have at least 5,000 docs in your back pocket.
Yep.
And they are bearing their souls to you day in, day out. I know this. You live on WhatsApp. And it's not all clinical questions on there. This is people's lives. And we know the people that are even like dishing out 6 figures to hone in on these skills that are going to create this perfect culture. Even them, they're literally having people leaving and or taking all those acquired skills and those systems and whatnot and opening up their own shop. And that would kill me more than just going in with this and trying to make a nice experience for the patients, lead by example, all on like my own accord, which, okay, it's how I've done it. I've not done any of these classical trainings. I have not dished out the cash. And even having said that, just last week, I was telling you about this. We had someone stop by from 123, the powers that be, and came into our practice. And you know, I'm an not anti-culture person, but I don't really believe in the term. He said at the end of like kind of perusing the office for about an hour, said, "Oh my God," he said this to Kylie and I, my office manager, "How did you create this? I visit thousands
Create
of
what?
He actually used the dirty C word, and I almost smacked him.
He looked at you and said, "How do you create
this culture
in your office?"
In my office.
This is a person who knows 1,000 offices in Canada.
He made a point of saying it. I have been into thousands of practices at this point in time, and what I see here, I want to reproduce this. And I was
and
laughing.
it's such
No,
bullshit.
and I'm not saying
because
that to
we
flex.
don't have any
There's nothing.
culture
There's
that
no,
we do. We just treat
and it
people well,
evolves. No,
and
it
we're
evolves.
nice people.
Well, and we're not even always nice. Like, I have high expectations. Everyone knows that about me. I've got the label dragon. I'm a dragon.
But you don't have morning meetings, afternoon meetings, extra weekends to create a culture. It's just sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
I have at different points in times done things thinking that that was a thing to do. And honestly, if I look in those pictures of who was there and who is still there now, and those things that I thought, and I was doing all the things that these people are getting trained to do to some extent or another. And those people are not the ones that are here. The ones who have stuck with me through like the good times, the hard times, the COVID times and whatnot, and they are still next to me. Those people had, I would say, absolutely nothing to do with that, because now I'm not paying for trips to Hawaii. I used to do all sorts of wild things, and I would bring the whole team, and it was absolutely fiscally irresponsible.
Let's talk about that. So we met in February 2017.
Yes.
That's where we met. You came to my re-engage course.
Yes.
That's where we became student mentor, then friends, and then progressed from there to marriage eventually. Yeah. But when I met you, you were like, I just came back from a week.
It was
a week where you took the entire dental team from Vancouver, all expense pays, flights, hotel, all food, to Maui. Sean, let's show some pictures from that trip. We got some pictures.
It was legendary.
Okay. How many people do we have in this photo here?
I think there was about...
Here, look at this photo here.
I know. There's like 14, I think 14 to 16. I don't remember the exact
16 women. It was all women staff.
Yes.
16 women went on this trip, all expense paid, Hawaii. Let's say 50 to 100K?
I think it was close to 50. Ask my accountants, because I should point out, my apologies to all involved, I definitely did not get permission to do this from my business partner. I definitely intentionally did this just to piss him off.
What's with pissing people off?
I don't know. I don't like it when people deny me.
Why would you want to piss people off? I live my whole life trying not to piss people off. People cut me online. I try not to piss them off.
I'm a little bit of a shit. I'm a bit of a shit.
What does that mean to be a shit? Why
I was born this way. It's genetic.
Do you want to get punched in the face?
I have not yet.
Do you want someone to yell at you? Are you just tempting fate?
I don't know.
Do you think just because you're blonde you can get away with everything?
It's possible. I don't know, but I am a shit. Ask my mom. I'm a shit. Do things like this. And anyways, I took my staff, 14 to 16 of them. We can count the faces that are in the picture where our faces are back.
How many
are
still with us?
Exactly. How many are still with? The ones that have been through it all. That's probably 5. I've got, it would be Jer, Kylie, Barb, Parveen, myself.
Mackenzie?
I don't think Mackenzie was on that trip.
So out of the 16 people that you spent upwards of 50 to 100K
without a write-off to it, because we didn't even do it smartly.
50 to 100K
yes.
on a team of 16 in 2017.
Matching attire, beautiful,
all young people. So it's none of these. All these people are still in the workforce.
Like read my little Instagram post. It is like the most beautiful testament to my team. And we had literally the best week of our lives. It was perfect, beautiful weather. We saw the spinning dolphins, a million of them. Everything was absolutely textbook perfect and celebrating their awesomeness.
And fast forward 7 years later.
So now we have more like 23 employees.
8 years later.
I don't do those things.
75% are gone.
Yeah.
Different things happen, different jobs, different life circumstances. Exactly. They are gone. And
moving
that
away,
culture that you built, you did not get an ROI on it.
Yeah,
it was a nice trip. I'm not saying don't take your office on trips, but don't pretend to me that you have developed some office culture that brings people in it. Because people, as soon as they get offered more money or a job closer to their house with more responsibility, will leave.
Yeah. Or just simply moving away to where it's more affordable. We live in British Columbia. The Lower Mainland is one of the most expensive places to live. Yes, I cannot predict the economy. I cannot account for that if I'm trying to build something in my practice.
I do not see those who are chasing this culture.
Yes.
I don't see it working. I know like a couple of dentists who have their staff for like 20 years, but it's all like they've had them like for 20 years. Like, we have a friend in Philadelphia. He's got like 7 or 10 staff that have been with him for like 15 plus years. And the rest is just a merry-go-round. So how come the culture doesn't fix the merry-go-round?
I don't know. I mean, there's complexities to the game. I mean, if you've listened to that podcast, Malcolm Gladwell's in the revisionist history,
Let's talk
the one
about
on Hamlet was wrong or something like that. He has one person that he makes mention of. I think it was Alan Benson, something of that nature, a graduate from MIT. And he was fascinated by the sales peoples. And effectively what this guy found is that, and I think this kind of plays on the dental theme and why some might last, but others kind of fade away for a variety of reasons. When you have, say you have a bunch of salespeople, okay? And it's very easy to measure how successful they are because you just measure the amount of sales that they accomplish. The top people tend to be rewarded. That's kind of how it goes. You work hard, you get the most sales, you get promoted. You're not wanting just to stay stagnant. You're wanting to move up the hierarchy, right? They found in their research, and he studied hundreds of different situations, when you reward the top sellers and they become a manager, everybody underneath them, same people, end up underperforming under that new leadership. So that was one finding.
Because a good salesperson doesn't necessarily make a good leader.
Doesn't necessarily, no.
And when you take their sales out of the equation.
Exactly.
Right. The point that Alan's making is that the good salesperson you get rewarded, which means rewarded means you move from sales to management.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're better for the business. The people who should be promoted from management are the people who work the best on the team, not the best salespeople. But that's not the way corporate America works.
No, but then more than that, in the end, they end up finding, yes, productivity or sales go up. I think it was upwards of 30%. If you get the people that are actually good at working with people and not necessarily the top salespeople, they'll do better in that management role. But then what happens to your top dogs?
Right.
They get pissed.
And they leave.
Or they're miserable and they're no longer top performers. So there's so many complexities.
Right. So that study basically shows that there's no way to have a winning culture.
Because it's constantly,
if you promote this top salesperson,
the goalposts change.
If you promote the top salesperson,
yes,
then the team goes to shit because that person doesn't have management skills.
Yes.
If you promote somebody else on the team, that salesperson goes to another job where they're more appreciated.
Exactly.
The point is, there are studies shown, and you should listen to this revisionist history by Malcolm Gladwell, where he says that he hires people based on a hunch.
Oh.
There are
or laziness. He has absolutely no recollection of it. He has no idea what he did in that moment. But when he goes through it, like you say, it just has to do. He had a hunch, or he liked the way they were good enough, and he didn't really feel like taking the time to interview anybody else after this.
You could call a couple of references, but they're usually references that are stacked.
Oh yeah, he is absolutely anti-Colby, anti-disc. There's no predictive value.
This is what Malcolm Gladwell, who's in my book, the greatest social psychologist out there, investigative journalist. He has study after study, proof after proof. There is no relationship between great interview and great employee. There are people who have terrible interviews, turn out to be great employees. There are people who rock the interview, don't show up day one. So that goes into the culture. You spend so much time on these interviews trying to find somebody who's going to be a good fit for your made up culture. It doesn't even mean anything. And I want to make sure everyone hears me clear.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about patient experience.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's expected.
Patient experience is a whole different game. Patient experience is how we treat the patient.
Yes.
Smile. Nice.
Yeah.
Seat them. How are you, Mrs. Jones?
Explaining
no patient. Answer questions, not rush. People aren't waiting in the waiting room. We call before the appointment. That's patient experience. Do not mistake patient experience with culture.
Amen.
Tell me about this 1, 2, 3 training you had.
Oh, the communications one.
Yeah.
Back in November. What do you want to know about it?
Tell the audience what you did.
Well, that's another interesting one, because much like the big wig from 1, 2, 3 visiting our office, the main guy, and that's Heartland's. You know him. What's his name? I apologize. Heartland CEO.
To backtrack, so this bigwig comes in. He's looking through your office. He thinks that there's some amazing culture that you guys have written down, have a mission statement on.
And
like mission statement is synonymous with bullshit culture.
Yeah, we literally do not have there's no mission statement.
Our mission statement is people suck.
Yeah.
That's our mission statement.
and our mediocre.
For the office.
We're
If
so
you have
pessimistic.
a mission statement for the office, just know it doesn't mean anything to anyone.
Oh, I can't wait to see the
Is
Instagram
the
comments.
Scam of the century.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I can feel it. I can feel the loathing.
I'm America's dental truth sayer.
Okay.
And every office that doesn't have a mission statement, every doctor who's felt mediocre because they don't have a mission statement, all of a sudden now feels better.
Yeah.
But okay.
And that's who we're here for, right? We're not here
I'm not here
if the people
to make you feel bad. I'm here to make you feel better. You don't need a mission statement. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Mission statement is like, what do we do here? It's very obvious. We're dentists and we do dentistry.
We're trying to do right by
Mission
people.
statements are for like corporations that don't know what they're doing.
Let's be real.
Well, you know what time it is.
Let's be real.
Let's be real. Office culture is not a real thing.
Let's be real. I agree with you, yet people continue to accuse us of having developed something.
Let's be real. The term office culture is a term intended to make dentists feel mediocre unless you buy our consulting /CE. It is a term used to knock people down.
And let's be real, you're only a $2 an hour raise from Joe Blow down the street away from that person leaving you.
Let's be real. Every person out there who thinks they have the perfect office culture, write to me and let me know you've had no resignations, no people leaving in the last 12 months.
And we'll have you on the show with us. Let's be real. Taking my team to Hawaii was reason 1,654 why I am an awful business dentist.
Let's be real. You got 16 women matching bikinis, flew them to Hawaii for the trip of their lives, and as soon as it fit their lives, they left you.
Let's be real. Yeah, that was a $50,000 mistake.
Let's be real. Every hygienist thinks they invented a sippy cup Velcro and they're going to be a millionaire and don't need this job.
Yeah, let's be real. Malcolm Gladwell is the GOAT, guys, and he's a nihilist. We're nihilists, I think, and this is all just a crapshoot. And if you think you have any sort of mastered how to maintain and retain people, you are living
Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
a bullshit life, and you're delusional that you think that you can see into the future.
Let's be real. Running a staff in a dental office in 2025, we have a real problem because most of the American and Canadian workforce can work from home at least 1 or 2 days a week, and we can't. And that's a real problem.
And let's be real, it's got so dire that it wasn't so crazy that I was ready to hire my trampoline guy. Yeah, good personality.
Let's be real.
All right, well, let's recap that episode. We dived into this word culture, and I really believe this concept of office culture is a post-COVID creation. We've never really heard about dental offices and culture before COVID. What happened during COVID? The workforce changed in time, mentality, thought process. People start valuing, maybe for the good, quality time versus making money working crazy hours. But the concept is that the sales force in 2025 is extremely unstable for many reasons.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
turnover rate is
It's
like 47% across the nation.
In all
crazy.
industries and even in dentistry, staff is hard. I think people have capitalized on dentist fear and offered an answer to how to keep your staff by developing a culture. And I think it is fake. I feel it is a scam. I do not believe that culture, I don't believe a dentist can create a culture, A.
Mhm.
B, I don't believe a dentist culture keeps the staff there. Now, that is different than patient experience.
Mhm.
A patient experience is something that is very important to the office. And I think when a lot of people hear me say culture, they think patient experience. Yeah, there should be a way that we all treat patients.
Mhm.
Yes. But culture as a term in dentistry, I don't think it makes sense. And I want to dive even deeper into that in another episode. I will explain and make the case. But I think right now, a lot of people are being scammed into spending a lot of money. You spent $50,000 to take your whole team to Hawaii, didn't wind up retention. I spent a lot of money on doctors coming with their entire teams to re-engage team retreat, saying this is a great way to keep your entire team. A lot of them still left after they came to Las Vegas and then gave the doc notice. Okay, there's no way to retain staff. It is a global problem with unemployment. I think we have the worst of it because you can't work in a dental office from home.
Mhm.
Everyone else is working from home, and that's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
And the culture is a scam.
The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. 'Cause sometimes you just feel mediocre. The mediocre dentist, the mediocre dentist. I am mediocre, you are mediocre, and that's not that bad.